is all elite dirt sheet. Hey! Hey! Hey!
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the All Elite Dirt Sheet. This is your AEW Double or Nothing 2026 post show. I'm your host, Mike Dinero, joined as always with my co-host, TK, Tim King, in the building. What is up, man?
Yo, Dinero, what is going on, man? I hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend.
Same.
I'm feeling good. I had a nice weekend. I really enjoyed the hell out of Double or Nothing, and I'm stoked to talk about it with you, bro. How's your weekend been?
So far, it's been good, man. The highlight of my Memorial Day weekend is doing this with you right now because, dude, what a fucking show. What a show, man. Gosh, I don't even know where to begin. Like, I just want to say, like, I was absolutely blown away, and I can't believe that AEW continues to be on this hot streak. Dude, we said it in, I think, February was Revolution. We said that was probably the greatest pay-per-view that they put on in company history. Dynasty was phenomenal. Then we have a show like this, and I'm like, I don't know how we could even get to like All In. Like All In is their like WrestleMania style show. And you're doing shows like this. Like, how do we get there and have a show that tops all this? It's absolutely insane. But I am so excited to talk about the show, man.
Dude, it was phenomenal. And it was phenomenal from the start of the pre-show all the way through the duration of the main event. Like, it hit from the start of the pre-show. There's obviously so much to talk about. You're right. I really don't know where to begin. But we were talking in the pre-show fist fight. Like, we both thought AEW Revolution might have been their best show of all time. I think you said this might be their best show of all time. I'm still trying to process that because Revolution was just so good. Like, I walked away from Revolution like salivating from the mouth. I didn't walk around. I walked away feeling great from this show, but I'm not salivating from the mouth. So I don't know that I can say it was better than Revolution. But this show, there wasn't a lull in the whole show. There was not one thing that disappointed. So, man, just kudos to AEW. Kudos to Tony Khan. Kudos to the performers. I'm going to talk about some specific performers as we go, but man, these guys put on and girls put on a fucking show for us again, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I just want to quickly just give like a quick reason behind that. I love Revolution. Revolution by far was, up until this point, in my opinion, the best show that AEW ever put on. And it's only because of the fact that, you know, they had the great matches, but I feel like AEW on that show had a lot of comebacks. You had Ospreay come back, you had Omega come back, you had Ronda Rousey make her return, you had Adam Copeland come back, and that's all fun, but that added to the enjoyment. I feel like this show, you didn't have to really rely on moments like that. You were just resting on the roster doing what the roster does, and that made it even better, in my opinion, that we don't have to wait, like, what's the big surprise? Who's going to return? Who's going to debut? Like, fuck that. Strip it down to the bare minimum, just professional wrestling, and it was still better than anything I've ever seen. So I was like, that's why I think it notches it out just that little bit. Only by a little bit, though. Only by a little bit. Revolution was a fucking banger show, too.
That's fair. This show rocked, man. Like, start to finish, there was not a bad match. Like, not one.
Yeah.
I was like trying to think, like, what match I wasn't entertained by, what match I thought should have been different, what match should have went a different way. None of them, man. It was beautifully done. Very well executed. Stories within each and every match. Let's just get into it. There's just so much.
Most definitely. Let's do it, man. AEW Double or Nothing live from the Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York, across the street from where they usually do AEW Grand Slam, which is over at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. I think that Arthur Ashe is actually undergoing some reconstruction right now, so that's why they chose to do it at Louis Armstrong. It would have been cool if they did it at Arthur Ashe because it fits like another like 6,000 people. They sold this out. I'm sure they could have sold that out. So maybe next year, if it's open, that'll be like the place to go. But this venue looked absolutely awesome. Love the aesthetics. People who are not from New York, right? I'm sure Chicago has it too, but there's scaffolding all over. Like, you can't go down a block in New York without seeing scaffolding or construction. And they took that and they made the entranceway out of like a typical New York City scaffolding, which I thought was really cool. It was a nod to New York. I loved it. Like I said, venue looked great. Crowd was loud from the moment the buy-in started. Bro, there was a bunch of empty seats because people were still filing in, but you wouldn't even be able to tell because that crowd was going ballistic. And we start out hot. We have Renee Paquette in the ring, and she brings out the debut in Mick Foley. We talked about him on the last episode of All Elite Dirt Sheet, we said Mick Foley's making his debut here. How did it feel to see Mick Foley inside of an AEW ring?
Dude, it was, first of all, I want to give New York all the props in the world. Well, I want to back it up even further. Thank you guys for watching. I should have said that in the first place. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. But also, happy Memorial Day. Always remember our active service military members. So appreciate what you guys did, the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you there. But man, Mick Foley being back, bang, bang, dude, it was so cool. New York was phenomenal. I got to give New York just all the kudos in the world. That crowd was loud from the start of the pre-show when there wasn't a ton of people in their seats, but those people in their seats were fucking loud through the duration of the night. And they were just equally loud throughout almost every match. I felt like they added to each and every match. They were so good. But yeah, having Mick Foley back was awesome. I was a little skeptical at first. Not because he's like some WWE lifer, because I mean he's not. He's been all over the place. You're the TNA guy. He was TNA World Champion at one point, right?
TNA World Champion. He probably shouldn't have been TNA World Champion at that point over guys like AJ and Joe, but I mean, he's still TNA.
Yeah, right. So he's not some sort of lifer or anything. I love seeing him out there. He was frustrated with WWE, as most people are. He was tough for him to digest the product, tough for him to digest other things around what they believe in. And I don't blame him for wanting to leave. And he said he, took a step back, stopped watching wrestling for a little bit, started watching AEW and fell in love with wrestling again. Like so many people, I mean, you hear the same story over and over again when these guys show up in AEW, and I believe it to be true because same reason we're doing the show. AEW is just the chef's kiss of wrestling right now. It's no product that even remotely touches it. So I love it, dude. He's a fucking wrestling lifer, man. He is a fucking wrestling diehard. What is AEW all about? Wrestling, dude. I got goosebumps, man. I love Mick Foley, dude. I'm glad he's doing what he loves, man. Glad he's doing what he loves.
Something about Mick Foley, like everyone looks at him as just like a WWE guy, WWE legend, right? But he's always found a way to be in the hottest promotion at the time when it's hot. He was in WCW when they were, transitioning. They went to Ted Turner and they started doing hot. Then when ECW really started rocking and rolling, he was in ECW. WWE Attitude Era, he was there, right? He goes to Ring of Honor when I think like 04, 05, he starts making shots at Ring of Honor, feuding with Samoa Joe and CM Punk. That was like the peak of ROH. Then he's back in WWE working with guys like Randy Orton, goes to TNA when it's hot in its best years in 2008, 2009. Now here in AEW, like he knows, he has his finger on the pulse. He knows what's the hot product, and he's always going to find his way there. So shout out to Mick Foley, man. I've always been a fan. Can I just give a quick little story, right? Mick Foley is my best friend. And that's an inside joke that I always say to like everyone who knows me. I say Mick Foley's my best friend because I met him in Central Park when I was about like 6 years old. And I remember I wanted to say I'm your biggest fan, but I was a kid and I was like nervous. So instead of that, I said, I'm your best friend. So he actually signed an autograph and I still have it. It's a picture of him and it says, to my best friend, Edwin. So it's good to see my best friend in my favorite wrestling company. So
love it, dude. That's so awesome, man. He seems like just such a good, genuine guy too, which is why I've always liked him.
He definitely is. He seems like such a nice guy because he is, like real family man. His family means everything to him, and just awesome to see him here. But let's go talk about the first match. We have the Divine Dominion Open Challenge, 5-minute challenge. It is the Divine Dominion up against Zeta Steel and Viva Van, who are out here with Christopher Daniels. This was the closest to the 5-minute limit that any of these challenges went. I think Zeta Steel is a star, right? I think Zeta Steel is going to be a huge star in AEW. She does need to continue to grow. I think she's going to be huge, though. Divine Dominion looked like $1 million in this matchup, though. Dude, even like the way they talked through their entrance about everyone bowing down as we enter into the arena, like they just felt like mega stars. But I thought this was a pretty good matchup to open up. And like I said, out of all the 5-minute challenges, this has been my favorite one.
Yeah, Zeta Steel's got just spunk. She's got a lot of energy, man. She's got it. I think Viva Van was a lot of fun too. They both look good, Zeta and Viva Van. We watched all these 5-minute open challenges. I don't know why people don't do what Zeta was doing. She was smart. She was just running around, running outside the ring, making them chase her. And then I think eventually she ate a super kick, a nasty super kick by Lena Cross. And that was the end of Viva and Zeta. But ultimately, for a 5-minute challenge, it was entertaining. And how often can you say these 5-minute challenges are entertaining? Because they're never entertaining. So I thought that it got the point across. It made Zeta and Viva look good. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build these young stars in the women's division. And Divine Dominion looked absolutely incredible again. I was unsure if they had done that talk out to the ring previous. I loved it as well.
That's the first I know. Like, that's the first I remember them doing that.
Yeah, it was a good shout out on that. They look great. And then I loved after the match. Ty J's back together. They got some weapons. They chase off the big heels. Ty J versus Divine Dominion. We talk about this each and every week that there's no tag teams for them. They need a real competition. We need them like an actual pay-per-view match against a tag team. Maybe it's Ty J. Maybe Ty J steps up to the plate against Divine Dominion. And I think it's great to see Ty Mello back. Always like seeing her.
No, yeah, definitely. I think that's a great tag team to add to the division. Like you said, we were talking about where's the tag teams. Forgot to mention Ty J, and so cool to see them back. And also, shout out to Christopher Daniels. You know, he can't catch a break. Dude retires, and he's still taking heavy bumps in the ring with the Divine Dominion taking him out afterwards. But after this matchup, we got the Ops versus the Death Riders. It is Hook, Shibata, and Anthony Bowens, who, by the way, definitely looks like he fits with the Ops more and more every time I see him, man. He looked like $1 million with the Ops. I was like, yo, he looks good with them.
It was bro, it's all about his accessorization, right? Like we talk about hats, shirts. This time he had like what is that? Like the hood, but he had like the boxer's coat kind of on. So like he looks like a real fucking badass. And I was thinking about you when I was watching that match. I was like, this is the look, dude. This is the look. Yeah.
Yo, I was so skeptical when they first put him with the Ops, and I'm like, how is this going to fit Anthony Bowens, you know, the silly guy with the Sesame Daddy? And dude, it fucking fits. So shout out to him. I love it. They went against Claudio, Daniel Garcia, and Willer Yuta, who they were calling the dark horses of the Death Riders. I've been saying it. You also been saying it. Daniel Garcia and Willer Yuta should be the tag team of the Death Riders, man. They have such great chemistry in there. They're very similar with their earring style. This matchup was really fun, though. I loved how the crowd popped when Shibata got in there with Claudio, and they just started to beat the shit out of each other. Really, really fun matchup. Victory goes to the Death Riders. What did you think about this?
It was awesome. I think both teams looked really strong. I think the Ops look really strong as a unit. I'm looking at this Death Riders team, and I'm like, why don't we have this Death Riders team as a trios champion? I know we had that run originally with them, but there's no reason that they can't be carrying the belts. Or Wheeler and Danny should have a significant role in that tag team division. You said it a couple of weeks back about Daniel Garcia being the voice and the mouthpiece of the Death Riders, and I had been like questioning what his role was in the stable for a while. Because I mean, I always thought he fit like a glove, but then it kind of seemed like he fell out of his role, out of his place. Like it felt like a real regression for him. I didn't like that because Danny's a star, dude. He's really coming to his own as the voice of the Death Riders, is the guy who's pepping him up. He had Marina, I don't know if you noticed, he had Marina slap him on the way out to the ring. And he's just like, ouch.
It's like Mox does, but
but like he actually like felt it. I'm like, Moxley like just does like the little face thing, but Garcia's like, So like he brings like the entertainment aspect of it to the group, which is something he does very well. It was a fun match. The right team went over, and I'd like to see more from both sides. I'd love to see the Ops take on the conglomeration for the trios titles. I like to see this version of the Death Riders take on the conglomeration for the trios titles. I think there's a lot of meat to this trios division, especially if we're going back to like LFI and the Guns. I think we can do a lot of good stuff with the trios here. Kudos to AEW for putting on a really fun match on the pre-show.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I think this is the first time since they had the trios division where you could really solidify a trios division and a tag team division at the same time without the tag team division hurting because of the trios division. There's been a lot of times where you took a lot of great tag teams, made them a trio, and then you kept the tag team division like really scarce. So this is the first time you have like good trios, good tag teams that could hold both divisions up. So I agree with that. I really like that statement. Next up, we got Shane Taylor Promotions, which looked like all of them. Like I didn't know Shane Taylor Promotions was as deep as they were coming out. They were going against Boom and Doom, who is Big Boom AJ, Boom, along with the Rizzler, along with Harley Cameron, and the conglomeration, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe. This was just a wild fun brawl. Like AEW does this shit. We said this is like AEW signature, these 5-on-5 matches. This was just a lot of fun. I see a lot of people talking shit though. A lot of people say, hey, you know, people talk shit about the WWE with their product placements and their advertisements. And then you have the Vita Coco. I mean, I can't lie. Like it is very similar, but at least the mascot got involved, right? The mascot got involved and had a place in the matchup. It wasn't just, you know, throwing a bunch of sponsorships and brands all over the ring just to have, you know, ad revenue and ad money on there. So I like that if you were going to have that partnership with them, at least it played into a comedy spot into the matchup. Similar to, I would say, like when the Prime Bottle got attacked at WrestleMania a few years back, like that was actually comical. Like I didn't mind that as much as pulling out a fucking Slim Jim table. Like that's where it's like, all right, come on. You know, when you're putting out the Fireball ladders, like we don't got to do all that. This I felt was comical. It didn't overstay its welcome. It wasn't like it was there standing in, like at the ring every single time. So I feel like the criticism's a little too harsh. Fun matchup though. I'm telling you, Boom and Doom should be a regular tag team on Ring of Honor, man. Like if Big Boom AJ wants to do this full time, I would gladly accept that and have him like run with QT Marshall in Ring of Honor, because I think that he's very charismatic and he's very over with the crowd. Like a lot of people talk shit about the Costco guys and whatever, right? But the fact is, I've been in the crowd when they perform. Dude, every single time they get the loudest pop in the night, or one of the loudest pops.
I believe it.
Like, so you got, come on, like go full time. I would love to see them as Ring of Honor, you know, not tag team champions, but at least like in that division. What did you think about this matchup? And should we see more Big Boom AJ?
Bro, Big Boom. And I guess I'm not just saying it's a big mark of the Costco guys or anything, as I am a big boom and mark of the Costco guys. I love them. So yeah, when they showed up on AEW TV, it was really just poetic for me because I was like, this is fucking fantastic. I love Big Justice, dude. I think the kid's a star. He can hit 300 feet home runs. Like I love the kid, dude. I love he's out here delivering big spears, dude. And they fit perfectly with the conglomeration. Now check it. You can complain about, you know, AEW using a celebrity and doing a product placement ad, but at the end of the day, it was very well placed within the match. Like Big Boom AJ is consistent enough. He's done this in the past. He was an indie wrestler. He shows out in the ring every time he's there. Plus, yeah, add a little bit of entertainment. There's nothing wrong with adding a little entertainment. We just got 4 fucking hours of nonstop wrestling. We're allowed to be entertained a little bit on the pre-show, right? And
you're allowed to laugh a little bit, damn.
Right. And so no, I find there to be nothing wrong with that. I think people just are always going to look for something to complain, especially when it comes to AEW. So fuck them, right? And that's kind of the end of the day. Fuck them. It was funny. It was entertaining. I mean, the interaction, you got Harley Cameron interacting with this thing. You have Orange Cassidy interacting with this thing. I mean, like, that's where you put your product placement at. I think it was a great job there. The match was a lot of fun. The right team won. But, my friend, I think the coolest part of the match is, I mean, we talked about this a multitude of times on this show. Where the fuck is Eddie Kingston? I was like, Eddie Kingston coming out for the hot save with Ortiz and Mance Warner. A lot of drama there. But Ortiz and good old Manser was there, so clearly no issues with AEW on his side. Yeah. And it was great to see Eddie. Eddie got a fucking, you talk about pop of the night. That place exploded for Eddie. That was really cool. What do you think about Eddie Kingston's return and seeing Ortiz back on TV?
Bro, I love Eddie Kingston's aesthetic. It looked like he just got off the bus. Like he just got to the venue, just like had a few seconds just to run in. Like he probably caught Ortiz and Mance Warner on the way to the ring. Like, come on, let's go, guys. Like, I just love, like, he just doesn't care. It's cool to see him back on AEW television, though, man. We were talking about it last week. Eddie Kingston at one point could have been a strong case for the heart and soul of AEW, especially during the pandemic era, 2021, 2022. Eddie Kingston was the guy who, like, the fans really got behind in AEW. So, hometown, great to see him here, man. Cool to see Ortiz as well. Like, I really feel like ever since Santana left, like there's been no spot for Ortiz. So I'm glad to see him back now doing tag team spots in Ring of Honor with Eddie Kingston. And yeah, a lot of drama with Mance Warner, but like cool to see him too. You know, I like Mance. I didn't see a lot of his stuff in GCW or TNA, but I did like his stuff in MLW, his first run. So cool to see Mance Warner there too. Really cool. I think that we need to continue to keep these guys around because these are, I would say, the backbone of that AEW roster. It's like you have the top names, the top international names, but the people are there day in and day out who are going to put in work are these guys like Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, people who've been there since the very beginning and is still there. So I thought it was a nice little spot to have them here, you know, in front of this large crowd, hometown, show face, and hopefully this leads to something else, though. I hope that this leads to, you know, Kingston and Ortiz getting some tag matches on AEW Dynamite.
Or let's throw fucking them in the trios division too, bro. We were just talking about this. You can do trios with them, or you could do tag team with them, or you can put Eddie back in the fucking singles division where he belongs, and then you give Ortiz some significance with put him with Manser, dude. That's a good way to bring Manser in there. Ortiz is obviously a good tag team specialist. You got lots of options with these guys. I hope you're right. I hope we see more of them in any capacity on the screen.
For sure. Someone we saw more of in a capacity on the screen was Mick Foley, because Renee Young and Mick Foley, Renee Paquette, sorry, and Mick Foley, they come back out and they're doing like the last minute, talking before the show goes on the air. I believe there was like 5 or 6 minutes left. Mick Foley starts talking about how he feels Darby Allin is going to walk away, your AEW champion tonight, and MJF is going to get his head shaved bald, which, to my surprise, out comes MJF. I did not think we were going to see MJF or Darby Allin here on the pre-show, but I loved how they did this. MJF comes out. I think it was maybe a couple years ago, Mick Foley was saying that if he was going to have one more matchup, it was going to be against MJF. And MJF and Mick Foley, they were already talking about like a possible like storyline. Probably not going to happen now. Mick Foley's not going to get back in the ring, but to at least have that interaction with MJF, it's cool because that was something that was planned by them, that they actually went to Tony Khan and was asking Tony Khan about actually doing back in 2022. Really cool to see them have this moment. I love when Mick Foley gets fired up. Like, it's one thing for him to be talking about the matches, but when he starts doing that Cactus Jack voice and starts getting fired up, I love it. He talks about how he feels that Darby Allin's going to walk away the champion tonight. He says that now that he's close up to MJF, he sees that he has wavy hair, and that hair's going to be waving goodbye tonight, which leads to MJF kicking Mick Foley down low. Darby Allin out comes, he makes the save. MJF runs off to the back, and then Mick Foley has a really cool moment of Darby Allin saying, do it for the weirdos, do it for the, the freaks, the underdogs. I see a lot of Darby Allin. I see a lot of Mick Foley in Darby Allin, the risk taker, the person who no one ever thought was going to make it. He's the world champion. I said it when Darby Allin won the world champion. This feels like Mick Foley beating The Rock on Raw back in like 1999 and becoming the champion, right? So I thought that was a really cool moment to have these two in the ring. How did you feel about this segment to close out the buy-in? And how do you feel about segments like this in general on the pre-show to build up to the pay-per-view? Because I believe this is like the first of its kind that we've seen, like a promo like this with the main event leading up to the main show. Leading up to the main show. Sorry.
Yeah, first ever. I was like, damn, all right, the Big Boom AJ match is over. We still got like 15 minutes to go. Are we getting like an impromptu match? Are we starting like, are we doing the opposite? Are we getting a main show match starting on the pre-show to lead in? Like, are they giving the YouTube people something for free? They're trying to get them to buy the show. I was like intrigued, but yeah, no, the promo was good. It was real good. I like how they set it up. We talk about every week on Dynamite. Why wouldn't I like it here? You do something at the beginning of the show, middle, you finish it at the end. This is so beautiful. You start the show, you gauge, everyone's in their seats by then. You get them interested, fired up even more for the main event. I knew he was going to kick him in the dick. That was fantastic, dude. Having Darby come out and make the save for him, though, was great. The interaction between Mick and Darby was awesome. I mean, again, even going back to the main event when Darby's at the top of the scaffold and throwing up the bang bang, like, I didn't realize that these guys looked at Mick Foley like that. I didn't know that Max had so much respect for Mick. I mean, obviously Darby makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, but I didn't know Max had so much respect for Mick. So, no, it's cool to see these young guys paying homage to a legit fucking legend of the industry. And it was real cool that Mick got some real serious shine on this show.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like I said, for a legend like Mick Foley to be here, it's one thing for him to just talk about the matches that are coming up on the pay-per-view. It's another thing for him to have interactions with the young stars of today because he is a legend. He's going to give people the rub, and him giving the rub to Darby Allin, making him like the new like underdog that like he was, giving the rub to MJF as like the top heel, kind of like, I know it wasn't obvious, but like I feel like MJF interacting with Mick Foley in the way that they were was very much like when Triple H used to interact with Cactus Jack, and like it just felt like he was giving the rub to the next generation of wrestling, and I loved it. So it really had a nice spot here on the show.
That's awesome.
So with that being said, let's get into the main show. First of all, I don't remember having a buy-in that stacked with so much newsworthy shit that we had to talk about. Like, that was a stacked buy-in.
Stacked buy-in, bro. And it's good that they did that. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, they should do something with the Ops and the Death Riders. Glad they did. So it's a real good buy-in.
Most definitely. But let's get into this show, man. This is where the real meat and potatoes are. This pay-per-view was awesome from the very jump. Opening matchup, we got the AEW World Tag Team title matchup between Cope and Cage, FTR. The I Quit matchup, if Cope and Cage loses, they have to break up. And this is just a batshit crazy matchup, man. First of all, I don't know how many times FTR flipped off the crowd. Well, I was about to start making a drinking game out of it. I think I would have been drunk. They flipped off the crowd between like every single move. FTR hates New York. really fun. I think that was very fitting that we seen tables, ladders, and chairs in this matchup. I wrote down, is this alluding to a possible rematch or a triple threat TLC matchup like we've been saying with the Young Bucks involved? Maybe you wait until All In, you put, other teams in there. They have the tag teams right now to do that. So I think that would be really cool. But I think it was very fitting that the first couple weapons we saw the chairs come out. Then we saw the table come out. We saw the ladder come out. And then all of a sudden it's like putting it together. Is this like foreshadowing what we're about to see in the next couple months with this feud? Because I don't think this feud's over by a long shot. I love the spike pile driver on the announce table by FTR on Cope. The double teams on Cage. And then when they asked him if he was going to quit, he was like, I banged your mother. Love Christian Cage, man. Love Christian Cage.
Yeah. What a trip.
Not gonna go into everything because a lot of crazy shit happened in this matchup, but we got interference by Stokely, which we saw a ton of at Dynasty. I think that's what took the matchup down for me. I said Stokely was interfering like crazy, which led to Beth coming out. Beth Copeland, former Beth Phoenix. She comes out, she evens the odds. Got a crazy fucking burning table spot. I don't think this might be the first time in wrestling history that there was a flaming table in the opening matchup. Like, I never seen a flaming table in the opening matchup. That's how crazy this show is. Flaming table spot. It looked like Cash was going to go to spear Beth Phoenix through the table. She moves. He spears Stokely Hathaway through the flaming table. Stokely set on fire. He was like on his back. Insane. I'm sure underneath that tracksuit, he had some type of protection because I know I wouldn't agree to go like bareback into a fucking flaming table. But in the end, it was Dax who said, I quit when Cope had the sharpshooter on. Cope had the crossface on. Cage had the sharpshooter, and then Beth gave Cope the spike bat, and then he applied the crossface with the spike bat. Absolute nasty spot. Awesome matchup to start the show. I don't even know how you could top like that in violence, and you still had a bunch of hardcore matches that you could do, but insane matchup. Glad to see Cope and Cage as the champions. It's been, I think they said since 2001 since they held tag team titles. So really cool to see that. Great to see Beth back, and awesome way to open the show.
Yeah, bro, I'm right there with you. You did a great job breaking that down. This match was awesome. Just an absolute fucking slobber knocker. Table, a fire table. I mean, that was insane. The fact that they tried to put Beth through it was even crazier. I mean, that was cool. Her coming back was awesome. I mean, how long has it been? Like a year now since they took her out with that spike pile driver?
I was trying to remember the pay-per-view that happened on. Was it All Out in Canada last year?
Yeah, it might have been.
So maybe probably 9 months around that point.
Yeah. So that was cool. And it coming full circle back to the Cope and Cage getting the belts. I love the ending. I loved him breaking out that spiked bat that he used against Moxley. I mean, that thing is just vicious. You had Cage on the legs, you had Cope on the neck, and then you take the fucking bat and dig it into Dax's head. I mean, what else is he going to do but quit? I think you're right. There's still so much meat on the bone for this feud. Maybe you skip Forbidden Door. Maybe you do Cope and Cage. I don't know who you would do against New Japan, but maybe you do Cope and Cage against like a New Japan team. But I think ultimately speaking, we still should be on track to getting Cope and Cage against the Young Bucks against FTR at All Out and All In. Yeah, All In. I'm very excited for that.
To be honest, I think that they actually should do that at Forbidden Door, because if the timeline is right, if the New Day does come in, then I feel like instead of throwing the New Day in like a matchup like that, I think you have to save the Young Bucks for that. Like, you have to have that dream match at All In front of Wembley. So if the Young Bucks are involved with the New Day, maybe you add the Motor City Machine Gun somehow. I don't know. But I feel like if you do Cope and Cage versus FTR TLC, you could do that probably. If you add the Young Bucks, you could do that three-way at Forbidden Door. So it saves the Young Bucks for a possible dream match, because even if it's like Young Bucks versus Motor City Machine Guns or against the New Day, I feel like that's going to be definitely a matchup at All In. It has to be. Yeah. So I would save them for that. But overall, man, just what a phenomenal matchup that was to start the show. Talk about phenomenal matches, man. Next matchup, the AEW International Champion, Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita. I don't even know like how to go into everything that happened that we saw here. This was just a phenomenal matchup. Before we get into like what happened after the matchup, because I definitely want to talk about that, I just want to say like this matchup would have been perfect at like a Wrestle Kingdom main event inside the Tokyo Dome. This is how it felt. It felt amazing. Okada has had amazing matches in AEW, but I feel like this is the best Okada that we've seen since joining AEW.
Definitely.
And Takeshita has been on fire. And I'm so glad that he finally got his moment. And he is now your new international champion for AEW. I hope they stick the rocket ship to him and they really push him far because he could be a megastar for AEW. But dude, I was absolutely blown away from this matchup. I knew going into that this was going to be one of the matches of the night. It's probably going to steal the show. But there was a lot of competition with everything else that was on the show. This matchup by far was just light years beyond anything that I've seen these two guys do in AEW in the past. And that's saying a lot because, like I said, great matches from both of them. But this matchup was just absolutely phenomenal. Kudos to Takeshita and Okada. Dude, I have a bunch of spots written down. I don't even know how to get into all the spots, man. It's just a phenomenal match. The transitions, the reversals, everything was just so fluid and just so chef kiss, man. Amazing matchup. What did you think about the matchup before we get into the post-match?
Yeah, man, it was just crisp, dude. Seeing the two of them, it felt like you're watching Okada versus younger Okada in there, man. And Takeshita might be a little stronger than Okada. You forget like just how big of a guy Okada actually is. But when he's looking there against another bull like Takeshita, man, it was just a lot of fun, hard hitting. And Okada, he is just, and this is an obvious statement. It's not like I'm going out on a limb or anything, but Okada is just so fucking great, dude. He is a pro's pro. And it's just the little things. It's the body mannerisms. It's the facial expressions. It's the small smiles. It's the way he moves his eyes, the way he moves his eyebrows. It's just like, if you watch that match, there's just so many little intricate things that Okada does. And I'm just like, man, this guy is just beyond fucking good, man. And obviously he's fucking Okada. He's a legend, but like just the little things. And he still does it so well. Takeshi's a fucking beast. He's an animal. I think Takeshi's the best overall pound for pound best wrestler in the world. And I really don't think it's close. I've been saying this for like almost 2 years now. Yeah. The match itself was the match of the night. There was a lot of great matches, but this was the match of the night for me. It had everything you needed inside the match, even to like where Okada was going to hit Takeshita with the tombstone on the floor. Don Callis gets up and says, no, this is supposed to just be an exhibition. Let you guys get your anger out on each other and do it. To where Takeshita comes up and fucking spike brainbusters Okada on the floor. And Don Callis is just like, what the fuck, man? Why can't you comply? Like you said, there was just so many other spots. To me, and we saw it twice on the show, and I think in both matches it did really fit well. But, Okada or Takeshita hits a huge knee. Okada fucking powers out at one like he's Hulk Hogan, dude. And I was just like, hell yeah. And then Takeshita hits another one. I think it was the Blue Thunder Bomb, and it was over from there. But, man, the match itself was fantastic. It was the match of the night. And it was great, too, because, like, earlier in the night, Okada was just hammering down Takeshita, and then Takeshita just can't muster up the energy to fire big shots at him. But then later in the night, it was the opposite. And Okada scratching and crawling, trying to get to Takeshita. It just didn't happen. And then Takeshi's fucking... Oh, it was good, man. It was just as beautiful as a wrestling match you can get. And it was the second match on a fucking pay-per-view. Crazy, dude.
Any other show, any other time period, any other pay-per-view, that was main event. That could have been the main event. This show is so stacked that that's just the second matchup. It's absolutely insane. So let's talk about this post-match, man, because a lot went down here. So after the matchup, Takeshita, he's celebrating with the title. He turns around, and Don Callis is there, not only with Okada, but with Rocky Romero. Mark Davis was also there, and Lance Archer. It looked like they were about to jump Takeshita. Takeshita is like looking confused. Okada is like getting back to his feet. And then out of nowhere, out comes Kyle Fletcher. I didn't think Kyle Fletcher was cleared. Kyle Fletcher came back to a huge pop. He comes into the ring. He like stares down the rest of the Don Callis family. They look like they start to back off. And it looks like we have the return of Proto Shida. But then out of nowhere, Kyle Fletcher takes out Takeshita. And I thought that this was crazy because I could have sworn when we saw Kyle Fletcher questioning Don Callis' decisions about MJF that he was going to be the first guy to go babyface in this team and then spearhead a bunch of other guys like Takeshita, like Andrade. But Kyle Fletcher is fully aligned with the Don Callis family. Something that I thought that was pretty interesting was when he went to pick up the international champion and Okada picked it up at the same time and they had that bit of a stare down. And then Okada was like, all right, you got it, right? And he's like, you sure? You sure? Then he takes out Takeshita with it. It took away Takeshita's moment, but I love the fact that not only did we bring back Kyle Fletcher, we established Takeshi's next feud, and then, dude, even if they build this up for a couple months and we do Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher at any pay-per-view, that has all the makings to steal the show. That has all the makings to be as good as this matchup with Okada was. But the Don Callis family's strong. You have Fletcher back. He's fully aligned. So I guess no more Proto Shida. It's back to Proto Okada. And they look like $1 million in there. So great to see Fletcher back.
Oh, man, I marked out so hard when his music hit. And I was like, all right. And initially, I thought that crowd, when he took his jacket off on the ramp, that crowd went nuts. And I'm looking at this kid, and I'm just like, what a star. And my son goes, looks like Randy Orton. I said, I know, man. I know, doesn't he? Like, Kyle Fletcher, man, he's got all of it, plus more. He'll be a world champion in the next 18 months. I have no doubts. But at the end of the day, it was sad. It was a sad moment. I think when he got in the ring, he, shooed the Don Callis family off. They stepped back. He gave Takeshita a huge hug. I actually believed. I was done. I was texting you and Bakley. I was texting Bakley. I was like, oh, that was awesome. That was a cool segment. I'm excited to see where this goes and moving forward. And then I'm like, no, because I'm like, damn, I legit, they swerved me. I thought it was over. I thought the segment was over and we were going to see Proto Shida take on the Don Callis family. I'm like, I'm down with this for sure. But no, it makes so much sense. You make Kyle Fletcher the leader of the Don Callis family. You make him the number one guy. He's the cornerstone of the family. And then you got Okada. And I'd imagine Okada should probably go after the world title at some point, which is going to piss Andrade off because I think that we both agreed that it's going to be Andrade and MJF for the world title at Forbidden Door. So I don't know, maybe Okada and Andrade get some drama with them there. But all in all, AEW can't tell stories, right? AEW can't tell stories. Yeah, sure. This was phenomenal. The match itself, match of the night, the segment, all of it, man. Who's ever writing this shit? Just fantastic.
Yeah, man. It's the small details too. Like when Fletcher held up Takeshita, and Takeshita's just spent from the matchup. He's just like trying to like fight him off, and he can't. He has like nothing on those punches. Like those small details really add to the stories that they are telling, and I love it because something that AEW has been doing a lot lately has been paying attention to the details, and I think that's what's taking their stories to the next level. I love it. So let's get into the Owen Hart Foundation quarterfinal matches for the women. This was the replacement match. It was supposed to be Willow versus Alex Windsor on this show. That matchup was canceled because the injury to Willow. Instead, we have Athena versus Mina Shirakawa. This was a very good matchup. I mentioned it, I believe, on the last episode. We talked about how these two women had the matchup at Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, and it was one of the matches of the night. They have great chemistry with each other. This matchup, I feel, took it to that next level. Really, really fun matchup from both. Great to see Athena. Athena's been absolutely killing it for like the last 3 years on Ring of Honor television. She's untouchable. I said it before. I don't think that she's going to lose that title anytime soon. She's going to top that Roman Reigns number. I think she's already really close. I think she's like already at 1,200 days. So she's right there. I can't see who will take that Ring of Honor title from her. So it's cool to see her now, like, just taking that title with her as she advances to the next level here in AEW, going to the quarterfinal or going to the semifinals now of the tournament. There was a scary spot, though. There was a scary spot where I believe Mina put Athena's leg in the rope and then jumped up and like kicked it down. And it looked absolutely nasty. Like the whole time after that matchup, Athena was like really favoring her knee. Don't know if that was real. I'm hoping it wasn't, because the last thing we need is another injury in this tournament, especially someone who I think should be all the way in the finals like Athena. So hopefully she's okay, but that was really nasty because as soon as it hit, I was like, oh my God, that looked disgusting. And then you see her like limping after the matchup. Hope she's okay. I didn't hear about any injuries, so hopefully she's fine. Good matchup, though. Really good. Great chemistry between these two. And Athena goes on to the semifinals of the Owen Hart. What did you think about this?
I thought it was a great match, man. It was just really solid for what it was. It was just kind of there to have the women representing the Owen Hart Cup. That, like you said, the women have great chemistry. Mina wrestled a really good match. I was surprised that Mina got like 80% of the offense in the match. Usually it's the opposite. The heel gets the offense for the most part, but Mina dominated the match. She dominated pretty much start to finish. But yeah, Athena came out, got the big W, and yeah, you're right. She should absolutely get to the finals of this tournament, and I expect her to.
For sure. AEW Continental Champion, another fucking banging matchup. Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly, no time limit. Dude, this was... I'm trying to remember their Full Gear matchup. I know it was very good, but from what I remember, I feel like this definitely topped it. These two guys have great chemistry with each other. We saw an awesome matchup this past week on Dynamite. Every time they get into the ring with each other, it is magic. Jon Moxley, I love the story that they're telling with him because not only did he finally get his win on Kyle O'Reilly, but this matchup, it was very different than the last matchup that they had because, well, the Full Gear matchup that they had, because Kyle O'Reilly beats Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley still doesn't respect him, right? He doesn't shake his hand. This one, Jon Moxley finds a way to reverse the ankle lock. I love that spot with the double ankle lock as well, where they both had each other in the ankle lock. He gets the ankle lock in. He has a grapevine. You have Kyle O'Reilly tap out after a phenomenal matchup, and then Jon Moxley shakes the hand of Kyle O'Reilly. But another matchup, like I said about the Okada and Takeshita matchup, so much went on in this matchup that it was just absolutely phenomenal. The one thing that I would say that took away from this matchup, and I don't want to sound like a hater because he's a fucking legend, so I don't want to hate on this guy, but Jim Ross cannot be on commentary for guys he doesn't know. The fact that Kyle O'Reilly been in the company for years, the fact that Kyle O'Reilly has been in matches that Jim Ross called, and the whole time Jim Ross is calling him, oh, that kid, or who's this kid again? Like, that took away from the match because Kyle O'Reilly earned that spot. He built himself up. So if I'm tuning in for the first time and I hear like a legend like Jim Ross saying like, oh, who's this kid again? It'd be like, yo, you're totally diminishing like everything that this man has been through. And I know Jim Ross is dealing with a lot medically, and I know that he's been through a lot. He's a fucking legend, so I don't want to hate on it, but I think that it would be better if Jim Ross was not paraded out here to be on commentary just because he's Jim Ross, and then you put him in a matchup where he only knows one of the guys and he's like questioning who the other guy is, because it does take away from the matchup. That's the only thing that took away from it was the commentary. Besides that, the matchup was absolutely bonkers. Amazing matchup, and I'm glad Jon Moxley is still your Continental Champion.
Yeah, it's a good shout out on JR. I noticed they called him this kid a lot. I didn't really like hear the rest, but I wasn't paying too much attention into that. But yeah, he was calling him this kid a lot. Good find there. But the match itself, to me, it was the second best match of the night. Really close to Okada and Takeshita. Very different matches, though, man. Like, just completely different matches. This match was so good. This was just a fundamental wrestling match. I say it every week, but the Death Riders and Jon Moxley are just so cool, dude. Mox's entrance, there's really no other entrances like it in wrestling. The whole like aura around him. But the match itself was great, dude. Kyle O'Reilly, I don't know anyone else who's like elevated themselves the way he has over the last 6 months. He was on the show for 3 of the months. Like, he has just done such a good job. I hope his momentum stays now that this feud's over. I love that, the aftermath. I love the handshake after the match. You had the conglomeration in there. You had the Death Riders in there. I think Kyle looked really, really strong. I thought Kyle was going to be the one to take the belt from Mox. Not here. I thought once the match was made, I was like, nah, it ain't happening anymore. But I don't know where Moxley goes from here. I don't know who's next for Moxley. It'll be real interesting. Maybe Jay White comes back. Maybe we get Jay White and Jon Moxley coming up soon. But the match was beautiful, man. Just a real 2 5-star matches almost back to back to each other. So really good stuff to start the show.
For sure. Can you see a situation? I was thinking about this during the show, and I hope they don't go this route, because I would like to see another wrestler be built up to face Jon Moxley. But can you see a situation where our predicted Owen Hart, winner, Will Ospreay, does not win, and the matchup at All In is Jon Moxley versus Will Ospreay, the teacher versus the student this time, and he drops the title to Will Ospreay? Do you see that? I mean, I could see that only if Kenny Omega finds a way to get that title and we get Swerve versus Kenny in the main event of All In. But I think that it would be interesting to have Will Ospreay be the guy to take that title from Jon, because I don't see Jon like dropping that to anybody else right now. But Will Ospreay's in this whole other situation, but he's being taught like this new killer instinct by Jon Moxley. I could even see a situation where Will Ospreay, maybe not All In, maybe after All In, Will Ospreay is a heel and the Death Riders now answer to him and they take out Jon Moxley, because I think that they should have been, probably separated by now. So that could be another situation too. Like, you taught him and now like the teacher is getting killed by the student. It would be insane. But I don't know. I just have this feeling that he's going to drop the title to Will, because the next matchup on the show, we have Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. And before we get into that, during Will Ospreay's entrance, the whole Death Riders, they were still in the crowd watching his entrance, which I thought was really cool. Yeah. They're continuing that, that story. But I just feel like with them making this monster at Will Ospreay, this assassin, this killer, is that going to backfire on Jon Moxley?
No, I think Mox is going to hold the Continental title probably until the Continental Classic again, and then defend it in the tournament. I don't know who's going to take it, but I mean that's a perfect time to put the belt on a young rising star, beats Moxley in the finals or something. So that's kind of where I see. I think Okada held it for a year. Then I think Eddie Kingston held it for a year, or damn near close to a year.
Close,
so
yeah.
They don't really transition that belt too much. I like where your head's at. The Death Riders turning on Mox, joining Ospreay. For a while there, I did think that they were going to turn on Moxley, but now I just think they're all just fucking death riding together. Now they're faces. I think they're just real cool now. I mean, they're not faces, right? They're not. But
They're like tweeners, yeah.
Right, but they're just so dope. They're like Stone Cold. They're like when Stone Cold went from Stone Cold never changed. That's like that was the thing about Stone Cold. Stone Cold never changed. The Death Riders don't change. They're not pandering to the crowd. They're not doing anything different. People just like them now because they're cool as fuck. That's how I look at it. But no, I think it's going to be Ospreay and MJF still at All In front of his home country. Moxley will have a big match. I don't know who it's going to be with, though. Maybe Jay White, maybe Kyle Fletcher and Moxley, and Kyle Fletcher takes that belt from him. I mean,
That'd be interesting.
But
maybe Okada. They could run that back. Like
Okada would be real interesting, right? Yeah. So I mean, you got plenty of options. So I'm intrigued to see where they go. Deep roster.
Most definitely. Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinals, first matchup, Will Ospreay, Samoa Joe. This was a phenomenal matchup too. I feel like this matchup could have opened the show as well. Like this had that type of pacing to it. Samoa Joe's making his entrance, and then Will Ospreay right from the bat hits the Os Cutter. Dude, phenomenal action. There was some spots here that I was really scared for Will Ospreay. When Joe had Will Ospreay in like the coquina clutch on the outside, and he just turns around and then throws him into the guardrail, it looked like Will Ospreay hit very, very hard. The fact that Will Ospreay hit Samoa Joe with the Styles Clash is insane. AJ Styles never even hit Samoa Joe with a Styles Clash. So for Will, he said that I remember when AJ, he had like some shoot interview, he was talking about, his favorite style clashes. And then one of the interviews, what about the one against Samoa Joe? He said, I actually never hit it against Samoa Joe because I never trusted myself to be able to keep him up, and I didn't want to drop him on his head. So it was like, well, that's why every time he won a match against Samoa Joe, it was always like an aerial move from the top rope that he hit on Joe instead of hitting the Styles Clash.
Okay.
But for Ospreay to do it, and Ospreay, he did lose a lot of muscle mass from the injury, and now he's like building back up. So like for him to hit that move on Joe was absolutely insane. I love the callback that Excalibur made, that a move that Samoa Joe probably feared back in the day, like a nice little nod to AJ Styles there. Really good matchup. In the end, with 2 hidden blades, Will Ospreay wins. He's going to be going on to the next round. But this was just phenomenal, man. I love the story that they built up to this with the Ops and the Death Riders, and which side is Will Ospreay going to align with. This was just done picture perfect, and just another great matchup on the show.
Oh, it was awesome. I loved the way the match started. Just hot energy. Ospreay attacking Joe, knowing he's got to get the upper hand right away to start the match. Didn't last very long. Samoa Joe, same shit, almost exactly that I said about Okada. I want to just reiterate about Samoa Joe. Again, not going out on a limb by saying this, but Samoa Joe is just so fucking good. And it's all the little things I talked about Okada. It's his body mannerisms, his facial expressions, the way he moves his eyes, his eyebrows, his little smirks. He is just calculated. He is so fucking sharp crisp with everything that he does. And he's hilarious, man. The little walk away he did on Ospreay was just so out of the blue, out of nowhere.
I love when he does that. I love it.
It's just so good, man. But the match was awesome. Very much so like Okada Takeshita. Ospreay hits a hidden blade on Joe. Fucking Hulk Hogan's out at 1, like a quick one. I was like, damn, I know we just saw this with Okada, so it doesn't have as much juice as it would have been if we didn't just see this a few matches ago. But damn, and then the second hidden blade in the back of the head was just fucking dirty, dude. Good match. Physical match. Really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for Ospreay and Swerve. But Ospreay, Dump Truck, and Swerve Brody in the second round is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, too.
Hell yeah, man. Speaking of Swerve, the next tournament matchup, Swerve versus Bandito. This was a good matchup. It really started to pick up towards the end, though. I got to say, like, the matchup started out a little slow. I liked that Bandito was getting a lot of offense, and Swerve looked like he was, like, trying to keep up with Bandito. But towards the end, man, the shit that these two were pulling out on each other was absolutely insane. The move where Swerve hopped up on Bandito's shoulders and then hit the, the house call? Just like fucking mule kicked him right to the back of the head. Nuts, bro. And then he hits the Swerve stomp. Absolutely insane matchup. I love the spot where Bandito was doing the Brody King, the whoo, And then he's on the outside. He goes on the apron, hits the flip dive onto the chair, onto Swerve. These two have really good chemistry with each other, too. I would like to see them run it back. It felt like this matchup, because of the placement, I would say, of the show, the crowd was a little bit tired from seeing just banger after banger after banger. And then this match came on. I feel like if it was earlier in the show, maybe if this was matchup number 2 or matchup number 3, it would have had more of that crowd reaction, because it did feel like the crowd was a little quiet, but it did pick up at the end. Swerve is going on to the next round. And I do agree. I think we are going to be getting Swerve and Brody and Ospreay versus Davis. And then we get Swerve and Ospreay in the finals. But really good matchup. And this is the second, or if not third, pay-per-view in a row where Bandito has a featured spot on the pay-per-view. And every single time he shows out. So he's getting better and better and better. So shout out to Bandito as well.
Oh, Bandito's a top 3 wrestler in the world, pound for pound. Just like I said about Takeshita. That guy, Bandito doesn't have a bad match, dude. It's like, I think it's Takeshita, Fletcher, and Bandito. Like, those 3 guys, if you put them in a match, it's going to be lights out. And Bandito is just so strong and compact for his body size. He's a freak, dude. I love Bandito. I thought the match was really good. I can see that the crowd kind of was dead. Not dead, but like not as hot. They weren't dead for any match. The crowd was fucking lit all night, but they weren't as hot as maybe some of the other matches. But again, you just came off of that barn burner between Moxley and O'Reilly, and then you had Ospreay and Joe, and now you got Swerve. It's like, it's hard to stay hyped for 3 straight singles matches like that, albeit different singles matches. It's hard to stay hyped. But I loved it. I loved, like you said, the house call from the top of the shoulders. But right after that, Bandito hit a poison rana, a reverse poison rana on Swerve to the floor, which is just nasty, dude. Swerve gets the win not long after. Well, Bandito had him. You know, he had him beat with the 21 plex, but he leaned back 2 bridges too far in the neck. So, again, telling stories within the match. Swerve was working the neck earlier. Bandito can't beat Swerve because he put too much pressure on his own neck with the 21 plex. He goes for it again. The fucking counter from the 21 plex into the vertebraker, bro, was just such a disgusting counter. Really, really, really fucking fun match. And, you know, this is funny because we'd be hyping this match nasty if it was standalone. But again, you have all these sick matches. It was fun, though. I'm not saying it was a bad match, but it was, I can see how a match like this could get lost in the shuffle. But the boys fucking ripped it up. It was a really good match between those 2.
No, most definitely. Another matchup on the show, the next matchup for the AEW Women's Championship. 4-way, Tekla versus Chris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter versus Hikaru Shida. Dude, we've been saying it week in and week out. Like, what is the direction of the women? Why is this match happening? This matchup just seems thrown together. I said that it felt like, you know, everyone that was on TV, that let's just put them in a matchup and have them, you know, wrestle at the pay-per-view. This matchup was fucking awesome. Like, for everything that I talked about, this matchup was fucking awesome. All 4 of them went, I was going to say balls to the wall, but the equivalent of balls to the wall. They just like was pulling out at no stops. Like, it was just absolutely insane. Great action from all of them. Tekla looks like $1 million. And shout out to Tekla, because a week ago she was battling food poisoning and was just, she was talking about how she was like just destroyed by food poisoning. And then a few days later, she's over here putting out a performance like this. Like, that is amazing to see. I've been a little hard on Hikaru Shida, right? I've been a little hard the last couple of weeks. Shida looked amazing in this matchup too. I love that we finally had Shida show her true colors to Chris Statlander, and then Statlander basically beat the shit out of her. Jamie Hayter looked amazing in this matchup. Just so many spots. I'm glad that Tekla still is your champion, though. I'm loving this title. I would say this title reign from Tekla, I like it because I'm liking Tekla. I'm not liking the stories that are written around her because it feels like there's no stories around her right now. But I hope that changes. But Tekla herself has been killing it every single time she's in this ring. And she's growing more and more on me every time I see her. So shout out to Tekla. I'm glad that she's still your champion.
Oh, this was a great match, dude. I didn't realize going into it was Tekla was taking on 3 former AEW women's champions. A couple of badasses while you're at it. And Shida, though, just out here spewing lie after lie. I'm going to be the first ever 4-time women's champ. I'm going to be the first. No, Toni Storm's a 4-time AEW women's champion. So that made me think that maybe Shida is responsible for taking Toni Storm out, trying to like prelude that story. I don't know. Maybe she was fucked up, but maybe I'm looking too deep into things. But the match was so fun, dude. I like how the 3 of them attack. Like, they're all bigger than Tekla, but yet they gang up on Tekla, like just showing her, like showing like she is the pit bull in the match. A lot of fun spots throughout the course of the match. I did like that we finally saw Shida and Statlander have some interaction together. I thought it was cool that Jamie had the match won on Tekla at one point. Shida cost her. I thought it was cool that Stat then had Tekla beat at one point, and then Shida cost her. Ultimately, Shida cost her to where Tekla won the match. And I think Tekla is just so good, man. Again, she is just a little pit bull in that ring, dude. And she is like everything I said about these pros, like Okada and Joe, she does the same shit, man. She's just so expressive. She has so much energy. I'm with you. Her title reign hasn't been great, but that's only because the stories around her title reign hasn't been great. But she has been a great champion and is really doing great things with that belt. I look forward to seeing what's next for her, who her next feud is. I mean, there's a one-off with Jamie Hayter, and we still haven't gotten the finalization of that feud. So I don't know. Maybe we get Jamie Hayter one more time. I don't want to see that, but maybe we get Jamie Hayter one more time at Forbidden Door, or maybe she takes on, as Forbidden Door. She's got these Stardom beefs from her past. Maybe a top Stardom woman comes over and takes on Tekla while her AEW feud builds to whatever July pay-per-view that they're going to put in place. So all in all, I thought that this was a very, very strong women's title match, man. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I do like how you said the thing about Shida. I did write down during the match, I go, Shida looks like she's moving in slow motion again. I don't know, it's even her fucking facial expressions look like they're in slow motion sometimes. And maybe that's just how she wrestles. But even she's like, and I'm like, yo, just make a facial expression. What are you all drawn out about? I don't know. The little things. But Shida looked good, man. She looked strong and powerful. Her strikes look real good. And her, she's the story, right? It's all built around Shida. So, she's the story part of it. So, whatever. I'm with it.
I want to say something, but I don't want it to come off disrespectful, right? Because this could sound really bad. But I feel like when Shida was on top of the AEW women's division, the AEW women's division was nowhere near as good as it is today, right? Even the women that were there are light years better than what they were, back then. Chris Statlander has always been good, but now she's top notch, top tier. Right. Jamie Hayter is top tier. And then you got all these new additions. You have the Tony Storms, you have the Mercedes Monets, you have the Teklas. I feel like Shida is kind of in that position where she's she hasn't evolved as much. And that's why they're probably doing the heel turn for her, because it's something different that we haven't seen from her. But I feel like the women's division has gotten so good, it kind of passed her by. If that makes any sense. It's a much different division now than when she was running in there with, I don't want to say
Nyla Rose, Riho, and I love DMD, but DMD.
What was it? Sakura and
bro.
It's a much different division. It's a whole better now, and I feel like she hasn't. Well, she also been injured a lot too, so maybe that was a part of it as well. But I feel like she's still, AEW Women's Division 2020, and we're in 2026 now. It's you got to catch up. So as bad as that sounds, that's why I feel like it's been a little bit of a weird time for Shida right now.
But at the end of the day, everything that you said, and I think that our complaints are just, it's not even complaints, it's just our thoughts on it, or our opinions on it. I'm just happy that she's back, because it was 2-3 years that I'm just saying, where is Shida? Where is Shida? Or she come back for one match, have 1 or 2 matches, and she'd be gone. I like Shida a lot. I thought she was a valuable asset to the AEW women's division. So I'm glad that she's getting the screen time. But I think you had a pretty spot on synopsis that I think the women are just far better now than they were back in her day.
They're elite.
They are.
They're elite.
Stacked, bro. Stacked. Yeah.
That's why it's very troubling when we can't come up with storylines for these women, because it's not from a lack of talent. It's definitely from a lack of direction. But I think that it's getting better, and I would like to see where they go from here, because this was a phenomenal matchup.
Yeah, no doubt.
Stadium Stampede. Man, this was just absolutely fucking insane. Let me get the names out the way now, because there's a whole roster of them, okay? Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Jack Perry, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley go up against the Demand, Ricochet, the Gates of Agony, Mark Davis, Andrade, and the Dogs, Clark Connors, and David Finlay. I love the entrances, first of all. The way that the heels came out with, they all came in with different type of cars, and it felt very much like the Warriors. I don't know, the movie The Warriors, back in the day, the 70s, the gang from Coney Island, and the baseball Furies, and
was Mel Gibson in that?
No.
Oh, then no, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you clips. You probably seen it, but it was a while, right? Yeah. So.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, the gang that was trying to make it back home to Coney Island that night, and every gang in New York is after them. That's how it felt. Like you had like all these different like sets that were coming together to go against these baby faces. I love the entrance for the baby faces too. For me, it kind of felt like Reservoir Dogs. Like it had that feel, like everyone in a suit. And I love the whole spot with Kenny Omega, who got a huge pop when he was shown on the screen. Kenny Omega smoking the cigar and he's like starting to choke. Dude, this was just fun, man. Fun. I got to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes drama, right? Not drama, but the State Athletic Commission did say that they didn't want no blading on the show and no one fighting in the stands, which if you're the New York State Athletic Commission's always been on some bullshit. That's why, like, if you ever see, like, whenever WWE comes to, like, the Garden or the Barclays Center, like, you're not going to see, like, fights in the stands. You're not going to see such crazy hardcore action. You might see tables and chairs and all that. That's why I was really surprised with the flaming table spot, because I know when ECW One Night Stand did that, like, that was, like, a big deal back in the day when they did it in the Hammerstein Ballroom. So seeing it here was like they must have got paid off or something. But I'll tell you this right now, taking – fighting in the stands away from this type of matchup where we always see it just go throughout the whole arena. I thought that it was going to hinder them because I read about that before the show, but then I saw how they actually pulled it off. And I was like, wow, that was very smart to go backstage, have these different like spots backstage. You had the spot with Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush, which I thought was a cool callback to Leo being his annoying ass manager. I used to hate that shit. Lashley. Like, bro, that shit used to annoy me. I love the spot with Satnam Singh in catering, and they did the whole food fight. The 7-man abdominal stretch. So many things to talk about here. It was just a whole lot of fun, man. The spot with the bus. Do you know when that bus spot happened where Jack Perry, he was going to go run over Mark Davis and he hits the whatever golf cart or whatever with the bus, that the surrounding areas, people were getting citizens alerts. I don't know if you know the app Citizens. People were getting citizens alerts that there's a commotion and a fight breaking down in Queens, in Flushing. That is fucking cool. The last time something like that happened, I remember the stories of people saying when the NWO attacked, Rey Mysterio and threw him into like the production truck, people were calling the cops at the MGM because they thought there was a gang war. Like, that is crazy that people were actually calling the cops because there's some crazy guy trying to run someone over with a bus. You have all this commotion. You have fighting everywhere. Dude, an awesome matchup. The one thing I'm going to say I did not like about this was Chris Jericho did not get the pinfall over Ricochet. He beat Bishop Khan, and I am so scared that means that Chris Jericho is going to continue this feud with Ricochet. Besides that, awesome matchup, man. Awesome. Everybody looked like $1 million. The Hurt Syndicate was getting huge pops. Bobby Lashley looked like he was having so much fun out there. The dogs look great in there. The Young Bucks, Jack Perry, I feel like is one of the stars of the whole show, like with all the spots that he was doing. I love the spot where Andrade is like taking the pictures with the girls. All of a sudden, Luchasaurus pops up with the wig. That was hilarious. This was just overall fun. And like you said earlier, like, God forbid you have a little levity on a show that you have action after action after action. This brought a lot of crazy action, but it also brought some levity and some humor. So I love when they do this in general, but this was very fun and very innovative how they went about it with all the restrictions that the New York Athletic Commission put on them.
Yeah, so I had no idea that was even a thing. I was wondering where there was no blood. I was like, wow, it's the match before the main event. No blood. They're probably going to be spewing during this main event. All right. But now that makes a lot of sense. I also was wondering about the crowd thing. I had no idea that was a thing. However, I thought the way this match started was great. The entrances, like you said, were so fun, dude. That was just such a cool way to start. The Hurt Syndicate, man, I love them. They need to do so much more. They are so entertaining. Just the way you could tell like they were laughing under their breath at Kenny choking. I think that was the point, obviously, but it was fun. I like the way the brawl started in the ring. I like how they all attacked Ricochet to start the match. I like how they fought around ringside for like the first 10 minutes of the match. I was confused why they did that. I thought they were going to disperse all over the place. Now it makes a lot of sense. But I had in my notes that I enjoyed how they started for 10 minutes in the ring, and then they all kind of just dispersed separately. The backstage stuff was phenomenal. The Leo Rush and Bobby Lashley thing, that popped me real hard. The Satnam Singh thing popped me hard. The Luchasaurus as a blonde in the crowd popped me maybe the best. The mist in the face to Andrade was great. Then you had Andrade with the mist in the face while Satnam Singh had his cake or whatever all over his face after Andrade bumped into him. So I just thought like these little things were really cool. A couple of stars in the match though. Toa Leona is an absolute fucking unit, dude. I always think it when I see him, but man, this guy, I mean, I don't know if singles titles are in his future, but man, this guy should be in prominent tag team for a long time. This dude had 3 guys on his shoulders. I mean, sure, they're like little guys, but at the end of the day, it's 3 grown-ass men.
That's at least 600 pounds. At least
600 pounds, exactly.
Insane.
Walking around with 600 pounds on his shoulders. They always struggle to put him through tables. They struggle to do any offense to him. Like, he looked real good. Who else looked real good? Shelton Benjamin. Every time he is in the AEW ring, he shows out. This fucking dude jumps 15 feet in the air onto the pile on the outside, man. The table spots, the suplex spots. I like when Bobby and one of the Bucks were doing their tandem suplex spots in rotation together. All in all, I love the 6-table spot at the end of the match. They all putting people through the table. I thought that was really hot as well. And yeah, it should have ended with Jericho hitting the lion salt on Ricochet for the 1, 2, 3, not Bishop Khan throwing Ricochet out of the way so he can take the pin. I guess that's my only complaint. I do not want to see Jericho and Ricochet anymore. I do not at all. However, this match itself, I mean, like, in a crazy way, this was like probably my 3rd favorite match of the night. And I'm like, it was like right behind Mox and O'Reilly. It was a real fun match with a lot of awesome spots. And all I walked away with was like, I really want to see the Hurt Syndicate versus the Dogs. Like, I want to see that tag team. Yo, Clark Connors always showing out, bro. The
Dude, that spear to Lashley, bro. It looked like he took I didn't think that someone the size of Clark Connors could break Lashley in half. He did. Dude. He definitely did.
And Lashley looked like he felt it. You saw, like you fucking, like you felt that. Yeah. That was right after he was coming down in a shopping cart, getting super kicked. And the last thing I will want to say is the 7-person super kick at the end of the match on Bishop Khan. Has Bobby Lashley ever thrown a super kick in his life? Was that the first Bobby Lashley?
That might be his first super kick. Yep.
And the only Bobby Lashley super kick that we're ever going to see. So put that one in the archives, right? Dude,
the Young Bucks were teaching him how to slap the thigh at the end there, right?
Just a whole hell of a lot of fun to break up all of those, singles matches they were getting before the main event. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and one quick
thing about the bus. I saw a video on Twitter, a guy who was in the nose.
The guy that was,
yeah. So he turned around and the bus thing was like right behind him. You can go on Twitter and find it. And you saw like the whole like, dude, that golf cart fucking like disintegrated. That was crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy that a lot of this was shot on the spot. You look at like the first Stadium Stampede and how like a lot of it was like cinematic and like they shot these scenes by scene and put it together like a movie. They had time to edit things. They had time to fix things. If the spot didn't go right, like put the table back up, we have to do this again. Where this was like, you have one shot because we're doing all these crazy ass stunts live in front of the crowd. Like, so if he misses with that bus, like there's only one take, So shout out to them. I do want to also give a shout out to Chris Jericho paying homage to Sabu at the end. He didn't go through the table, so at the end he broke the table on himself, which is classic Sabu. Rest in peace, Sabu, one of my favorite wrestlers. So thought that was really cool also.
Ted's got a little emotional with that too. You can tell. Yeah, it was cool.
For sure. Time for the main event. AEW World Title match. Hair versus title. MJF versus Darby Allin. And 3 minutes into the match, it looked like Darby Allin almost broke his fucking neck. Bro.
Dude.
Insane. I was so scared for Darby when he landed the way he landed. It wasn't even 3 minutes. It was about like 30 seconds into the matchup. Darby gets, MJF to the outside. He goes for the dive to the outside. I think he hit his heel on the top rope, which like made him like flip over and like he landed on the top of his shoulders. He was a couple inches away from not being able to walk again. I could tell you like that was a nasty spot. Scary spot. And that was not the only scary spot. There was a lot of action in this matchup. Crazy shit that we've seen Darby Allin do before, which I think that he should stop doing. Like the whole the coffin drop to the apron where he misses. Yeah, why are you doing this, bro? Why do you do this?
Man.
Insane. You had MJF hit a package pile driver onto the steel steps, which was sick. They were just trying to destroy each other in this matchup. And just like you said, Bobby Lashley, when he was like, like a couple times during this matchup, you just see MJF's like, he's just like in pain. His back looked like shot. Absolute crazy matchup, man. The spot where they fight all the way to the front of the entranceway and Darby climbs up onto the scaffolding, that entrance, and does like a 15-foot coffin drop. I was hoping he didn't miss because I was like, yo, this man already put his body through enough. Like if he fucking misses this spot, like it's done. Wrap it up, right? MJF brings him back in. Still with some hope for Darby Allin, right? Darby Allin hit the Scorpion Death Drop. It looked like he was going to win the matchup there. He gets the Scorpion Deathlock in. He's unable to keep the Scorpion Deathlock in because his body's just giving up on him week after week after week of crazy matches. I love the story that they told that his body just finally gave out. And then it was MJF who probably could have ended it there. He could have hit the Heat Seeker, but no, he wants to take it one step higher, takes him to the middle rope, hits the Avalanche Tombstone for the victory. 1, 2, 3. Before we get into the aftermath, because I was shocked by the aftermath. Even though I predicted it, I was shocked.
I was going to say, were you shocked? I think you called it.
I was shocked for the simple fact that I thought that was going to happen during the match. I thought we were going to see MJF try to cheat. Kevin Knight comes out, and then it would be like, oh, the big reveal.
Yeah.
After the match finished, I was like, all right, this is it. You know, we have the match is done. You have Darby getting stretchered. But before we get into that, what did you think about this matchup?
It was fun, dude. It was a whole hell of a lot of fun. I just walk away always that MJF is just a complete unit, dude. Like, the man is AEW's cream of the crop. There's a reason why he should have went number 1 overall in our brand split draft. I mean, this guy is just an absolute unit. He looks phenomenal, man. And now he's in that special class under 30 or 30 and under with 3 world title reigns. Very special crop of talent that was able to do that. He's part of that class now. Darby Allin, man, what more can you say about this kid? He just gives it all to the industry that we love, man. So I cannot thank him enough for what he does. Just he's got to stop. He's going to kill himself in that ring. He's going to fucking kill himself. I liked how they took it out of the ring. I like how they took it up the ramp. It was very reminiscent of what I think of MJF and Hangman Page towards the end of the match. Darby, just like Hangman, got the advantage on top of the stage. Match gets back to the ring. MJF figures out a way to win it. This match, though, there's a couple matches that had some similarities in the booking. This match, very much so like the what was the other match that the guys by what? We just talked about this match. Oh, the Bandito match. Just like Bandito when he had too much pressure on his neck and he had to forego his own pin. Same thing with Darby. He has the sharpshooter, the Scorpion Deathlock locked in. You think that Max is going to tap. His body just falls apart. You know, it makes sense. The dude defended the title 10 times in 40 fucking days. Thank you, Darby, for maybe having the most meaningful, impactful title reign in AEW history, albeit like the second shortest. But man, 10 title defenses. Ciampa, Brody, that Sammy Guevara was an absolute banger. Speedball, Jet, man, Pac on the golf course. I mean, come on. Just so much fun. Thank you, Darby. Great match to end. Well, just about end a great show. And as I said, the right guy won because you're going to go into your biggest pay-per-view with your biggest star against who they want to be their biggest star and their biggest babyface. And it's going to fucking rock, dude.
Now, yeah, you know, going into the show, I was hoping that Darby was still going to win. No, nothing against Max. I feel like I'm always coming up with these situations. Like, what if this happens at All In? Or what if, right? It's not against Max. I am a huge MJF fan, right? I just was so impressed by Darby Allin having a title reign like he had in such a short period of time. But like, I don't know, like right now, you calling out all those matches, like I just had like the realization right now that if it would have continued on, even if it was for another like 2 or 3 weeks, it could have overstayed his welcome, right? Because Darby Allin is putting his body on the line because it was just in the span of between 2 pay-per-views, you have him defended 10 times. That's what made it special. You know, if you continue this every week, then it's going to become predictable. It's going to, so I like how they knew strike when the iron is hot, and then when it's hot enough, you take it off. I love that they did exactly what they did. This was an amazing matchup. And then the post-match was shocking because, like I said, I thought that the show was going to be done. You have similar to Revolution where, you know, Darby Allin is on the stretcher just like Hangman was, and Max is posing on top of the stretcher. He's standing over his lifeless body, disrespectful, throw up the devil horns and all that, right? Instead, this time, out comes Kevin Knight. And as soon as I saw Kevin Knight, I was like, all right, are we going to continue this Kevin Knight and Max feud? I know I predicted that this was going to be, you know, Kevin Knight where he turns heel. I thought that it was going to be during the matchup. Kevin Knight, he runs off MJF. They proceed to start taking Darby out with the stretcher, and then he goes on top and he hits the fucking UFO splash out of nowhere. Doesn't look like MJF knew anything about this beforehand because he looked shocked also. But what a way to end the show by taking someone who wasn't even on the show, but is a future star and turning him heel, where the last thing you see is Kevin Knight. I didn't think that was going to be something that they actually did. I thought even when I threw out that prediction, it was a little too bold. So I'm very excited that we're doing this. We've been talking about it since probably the first or second episode of the All Elite Dirt Sheet, that Kevin Knight, if he went heel, we would see more personality of him. He's probably going to feel a lot more comfortable in his own, on his own. He's probably going to be more of a charismatic heel. And I think that'll be, what takes him to the next level. It looks like we're on the precipice, and that's what we're about to get, because he turns heel on Darby Allin. What do you think about this? What do you think is next for Kevin Knight also?
I was wondering why he was back out there. I was like, all right, once again, Kevin. I mean, they love him. They love this kid. I don't know what it is. I know what it is. The kid's got it, man. He's got the it factor. But each and every week, he's out there ending Dynamite. He's in some sort of meaningful role. Tony Khan loves this kid, man.
I love this kid.
There's a lot to love about him. And yeah, ending this fucking perfect show with Kevin Knight coming out and turning heel after that main event. It's just it's because you want people to be like, oh, MJF just won the title, Takeshita just won the title, Fletcher turned on him. And then like, oh, Kevin fucking Knight. And that's how we're ending the show with Max smiling with his belt and Kevin Knight. What's next though, right? What the fuck is next for Kevin Knight? That is the big question. So did you do this just to like why? Like, I guess like that you need a why. Like there needs to be a why. Well, I beat MJF. I want to be the next one in line for the title. All right, well, what's this fucking Darby have anything to do with it? Darby couldn't beat MJF. Like Darby beat Kevin Knight, right? Like Kevin Knight got the match with Darby. Darby beat him. I don't understand the animosity. Like even like we talked about on the dirt sheet, like the promo Kevin Knight cut on Darby didn't even make a lot of sense. Why he goes after Darby, I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it. Darby and Kevin Knight's gonna fucking bang. Is it gonna be for his title though? I don't know, but maybe this is a way to get Darby off TV for a couple months, let him go rest, recoup his body. And in the meanwhile, I think we also talked about it this past week on the dirt sheet, the Kevin Knight versus Speedball match for the fucking belt at Forbidden Door. Sign me up, and then that could lead to Kevin Knight versus Darby Allin in a huge match. And I mean, Darby Allin's held that belt he held that belt like 3 times, right? The TBS title.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Darby Allin versus Kevin Knight for the TBS title at All In's a huge match for them both. And it gives them something meaningful to do. So, all in all, I'm with it. I'm big time fucking with the heel turn. Shocked at the timing of it to end a huge pay-per-view like that. But what a rub for that kid, man.
Yeah, I don't know where they go from here, but that's like the exciting part of it. I can see a situation where he's like, you know what? The whole time I was in AEW, I looked up to people like Darby Allin. I thought that you had like the right way. And then I'm starting to realize that people like Max, they get the champions. They have, all the success. So he has to, change the way he thinks, because he's going to mirror like himself to be like MJF. I can see something like that. MJF also has been throwing money around, right? Throwing money around and paying people off to take out Darby Allin. Who knows if this was him paying off Kevin Knight? Like, hey, I'll beat him fair and square, but I know Darby's going to want to come back and get this title. You could take him out afterwards. Like, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, because we've been wanting to see Kevin Knight as a heel. Now let's see what he actually could do. He has that arrogance about him. He has that charisma about him. Let's see what he could do. I'm very excited to see this.
Oh, I'm stoked. And I think it leads to a lot of fun things. You can have MJF and Kevin Knight take on Darby and Speedball. I mean, I think that's a lot of fun, dude. And I think this could, obviously it's elevating Kevin Knight in the process, but I also think this could elevate Speedball in the process. Mm-hmm. What if Darby comes back and costs Kevin Knight the TBS title, so Speedball gets it? Because Speedball very much so has earned a singles championship opportunity, in my opinion, in AEW. He is equally as great as Kevin Knight. Not as good on the stick, obviously, a corny character or whatever, but like, he's fucking fantastic in the ring. So maybe Darby costs Kevin Knight the TBS championship or TNT championship against Speedball. Then Speedball can go do some fun shit with that belt against like Ciampa or something, Roosh, whatever. And then Darby, Kevin Knight, which does not need a title, is your big all-in match, just in a singles grudge match, which I think I like a lot more than the title being involved.
For sure. And you know what the thing is? It's like, regardless of where they go from this, I just love the fact that they took a guy who's young and talented, and slowly we started seeing him like break out into his own. Then he gets the TNT title, and it's like, all right, he's on that next level. But then now you see like, no, we're really pushing him now. And not only are they really pushing him, but you also mentioned Kyle Fletcher. You mentioned MJF. There's such a crop of young talent that they are getting behind right now. So all the criticism of, everyone in AEW is like 40 or 50. Fuck you. MJF is 30. Fucking, I believe Kevin Knight is 29 or 30. Fletcher is like 27 or 24, I think even. Like, dude,
Takesha's 30, Bandito's 31. I mean, these guys are
the crop
kids,
of young talent that they have right now, and that they're putting the stories behind, and they're putting the rocket ship on. It's insane. AEW has the perfect mix of veteran legends who are, you know, still doing very good, because there's no one there who's like overstayed their welcome and looks sloppy in there. Look at Copeland and Cage had a phenomenal matchup. And then you have this crop of talent that's going to take this for the next 20 fucking years. AEW right now is in a great, great position, and I love it. So with that being said, what is your rating out of 5?
Oh man, this is an easy 5, dude. It's the easiest slam dunk fucking 5 that there is. I think I gave Revolution a 5 as well, and I'm giving this a 5. It's just a absolutely phenomenal show from the start of the buy-in to the end of the main event with Kevin Knight turning on Darby. What a show. And again, the buy-in was good. A real good buy. Like, that's how good AEW is right now. That their buy-in was phenomenal. What a show, bro. 5 out of 5. What about you?
Dude, the buy-in was so good that if I didn't already think about, you know, paying for the pay-per-view, I would have bought in. Like, it was that good. Yeah, you know, I of course, there's a 5 as well. Like, I think that it's a tad better than Revolution, like I said earlier, and I gave Revolution a 5. I'm not going to break the scale like, you know, other people are like, oh, it's a 5.5 out of 5. Like, that makes no sense. But I got to say, this was like the perfect show, if you ask me. If you want to talk about top to bottom, something for everybody, you have hardcore action, you have comedy, you have amazing pure wrestling, you have stories, you have drama, you have, you know, this is basically what AEW is built on, being the buffet of wrestling, a little bit of something for everybody. And then when it all comes together, it's just a great meal. That's what this was. This was phenomenal, top to bottom, not one bad matchup. I can't even think of like spots that I didn't like as in like, you know, victories or matches that were, there's nothing that was bad on this. The one complaint was Bishop Khan took the pin. Like, that's not enough to take it down a notch. So they might take Dynamite down a notch if they continue this Ricochet Chris Jericho shit, but I definitely think that this was a perfect show, man. If you're trying to make someone a wrestling fan, this is the type of show I would think of. You know, you show them this and they're going to fall in love. I watched this with my wife. She likes AEW, but she's more into WWE because it's more of the people that she knows. She saw that she was fucking blown away. Like, that's a testament to AEW. Like, when you show someone that is not too big on the product and they see something like this and they're like, wow, I can't wait to watch Dynamite. Like, that is a testament to AEW right now. Amazing show, man. 5 out of 5.
It's beautiful, bro. It was so good. It's perfect. It was literally a perfect show.
100%. So with that being said, right?
All I was going to say is, and my biggest takeaway from the show is, I think we're going to get a dream 6-man tag at some point over the next couple months. Check out this super team. Former Don Callis members, Don Callis guys, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita. And I think they're going to take on Okada, Fletcher, and Andrade. And that shit is going to fucking bro.
Someone grab my wallet. I need to take my money. Take my money, man. That is insane. I would love that. Dude, AEW right now, it's like I said, it's an embarrassment of riches. They have the best roster in professional wrestling right now. We saw it top to bottom on this show. Insane. That being said, thank you for everybody who checked us out. Thank you so much for everybody who, you know, is here watching. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. New channel, All Elite Dirt Sheet channel. Officially, this is going to be your one-stop shop for all things AEW. We're going to be here more than just the Dynamite post shows. We're going to have cool things throughout the week as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right here on the All Elite Dirt Sheet. Finally have our own spot. It's going to be very fun to bring a lot of cool things to this channel.
Oh, man, I'm stoked. I'm stoked for the channel. What I'm really stoked about is, I'm such a loser, but what I'm most stoked about is off of our brand split draft. We're going to book this shit. We're going to book our own brands weekly. I don't know if we're going to come on together and just do like a quick 20-minute, like what we got on this week, or like we do individual quick 10-minute each or 5-minute each of what we got this week on our brand. But that's going to be dope, dude. We'll use some AI. We'll have them book it out. Well, not book. Well, we be booking. We'll have them like simulate some shit. Oh, stoked for that. I'm stoked for the Dirt Sheet channel. I'm really excited. I love doing this with you. I'm loving AEW, man. It's been a lot of fun. And really, since we started doing this, AEW has been fucking flawless. So I don't know if it's like you can thank us because Tony's listening to us and giving us some killer booking ideas, what it is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just real happy to be doing this. AEW is awesome. I'm glad that I get to passionately enjoy quality wrestling that we were void of for so long. So thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, Dinero. Thank you to the people watching. Come in each and every week. We're going to have so much awesome AEW content right here on this channel.
Most definitely. Yeah. Thank you, TK. Thank you, Tim King, TK. Like, I love doing this with you. Honestly, like, this has been such a great journey since we started, and I can't wait to take it to the next level. And yes, booking the shows, fantasy booking is going to be a whole lot of fun. Maybe we hook up the whole PlayStation right here. We do some like 2K, like have like the matches simulate play out. Would be awesome. But dude, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody here. Thank you so much. We'll catch you on 2 times this week. We were going to catch you with the Dynamite post show this upcoming Thursday. So everybody, make sure you tune into that. I love you all. Peace out, y'all.